They're the nation's best executive team. This is a team that for the last 4.5 years, we've been through a lot together, and they really didn't know what was going on. Maybe late in the, very late, because it's a very quick process, two weeks, in terms of how this went down. I wanted to make sure they understood, number one, how much I love them, how this happened, and why I decided to take it. I decided to take it for several reasons. Number one, Miami is a world-class city, just like Houston. Miami is a city that is an international city, like Houston. Miami is the gateway to, Central and South America, the Caribbean, Europe. Houston is the gateway to the world. And it is a very diverse community like our community. And Miami really is the place when, in 1968, on December 12th, a little 4.5-year-old kid landed with his parents, and that's where our journey began. And we went all the way to California, came to Austin, came here, and everything's about timing. It's been weighing on my heart. I love policing, and we always talk about, as a team, that adversity brings opportunity for good leaders and good people to show what their metal's about. In the city of Houston, it's no secret. I always joke with my mayor, Sylvester Turner. I said, Mayor, we need an exorcism. Because if it can happen other than a meteor strike or an earthquake, it's happened in Houston. We got here in 2016 with the Super Bowl, 2 World Series, Hurricane Harvey, that, we were hearing the sounds of Noah. Noah built the ark, as we all know, that storm that went on, and President Trump acknowledged us all in D.C. A year later. He talked about how it came in and went out and came in and went out. And this team that you see behind you, they didn't allow this city to turn into a Katrina situation where 75% of first responders went AWOL. This team kept this dedicated, lean police department that has the same number of officers or less than it had 22 years ago, that has less than half of the support staff that it had 22 years ago, that has a lack of resources. What the mayor always talks about, what it takes other big cities, 5 cops, 6 cops to do, and support team members, it takes 1 member of the Houston Police Department. And so when this opportunity came up last 2 weeks ago, and I got a call, again, Mayor Turner's term is coming up. My heart keeps, what am I going to do? Am I ready? I love working, I love being a cop. I love cops, I love being a cop, I love working patrol. I've been really assessing them, and my brothers know this. What next? What's next? What's next? And I contemplated a federal position that I won't say what it is, but it was significantly bigger than any other department in the country. I contemplated going back to LA and running for sheriff, because again, it's law enforcement. And I contemplated going into the private sector. But God has a way to work in mysterious ways. And so when I got that call from Miami, and in the last 2 weeks we really had a courtship, a very quick courtship. And I always talk about Mayor Turner and how when he starts talking, it's like it's church on a Monday or on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. It doesn't matter. He really knows how to connect. Well, I found a mayor and Mayor Suarez and a city manager and city manager Noriega that we really connected. And again, that's where my journey in the United States started, was 12/12/1968. And then I started thinking about this department with these men and women that are just phenomenal, that do such a great job of leading the best cops in the country. And I'm sorry to my new cops in Miami, I haven't had the opportunity to work with you yet directly, So I have points of reference. This is my third law enforcement agency. This month is the 17th of this month is when I started my law enforcement career with the California Highway Patrol 37 years ago. So I have points of reference. And I can tell you there's not a better group of people than the group of people that I've worked with standing here and across the city. And so then as we went through this dance, I will call it, I started thinking about the next generation, the next chief at the Houston Police Department. And I am so hopeful. I know my boss. I've got to talk to him Sunday night or Sunday, whenever it was, afternoon, and told him that I was going to accept this position on Monday morning. And then we talked to him, what's next? And let me tell you, I hope that what's next, and I think that what's next, is one of these executive assistant chiefs will be the next chief of police of the Houston Police Department. I've been praying for that. And I would challenge any member of the community, if they look at how the summer of protests across this country, where we saw buildings burning and just so many bad things happening, to compare the performance of our department to a lot of other departments. And the relationship of this community with this department, where people took to the streets, we had to make some arrests, but by and large, I've told you before, I got calls from around the country, how do you guys do it? I got a call, personal call from a mayor from a major city in this state. How did you guys do it? And you know how we did it? With these men and women and the men and women they lead. And so I feel like by leaving, it's going to give someone in this department, and from day one, what I tell you guys, that we're going to be about making opportunities for people to come in and lead. It was going to create an opportunity for one of these two, or if the mayor decides to go on to somebody else, one of them. And then I get to hopefully spend the next 5 years minimum with the current administration that hopefully has 5 years left, at least 5 years, to continue what I love doing, which is really building relationships internally with the cops that you lead and the leaders that you lead with, and externally with the community. Nothing energizes me more than that. To come in and take something that is good or great and make it better or greater. And after 4.5 years, I can tell you, we've had missteps, we've had tragedy, we've had problems in this dynamic profession like any other profession, from Harding Street and beyond. But on balance, our department is second to none. And so I leave with a great satisfaction in my heart that I've given my best, and I've led the best team. And it's hard to say goodbye, because we buried 6 officers since I've been here. And we've buried children that have been shot since I've been here. And those children and those officers, we always talk, say their names. Well, let's say their names. The kids that are dying every day. The children, the people are being victimized every day in Harris County, because we have judges that continue to give away the store to violent criminals. And we have people that run the county that don't care enough to actually fight back. But I can tell you that we're going to leave this department in great hands. And as we move forward, I will continue to pray for our department. But I will be leaving a big piece of my heart in Houston. I'll be leaving a big piece of my heart in Texas. Because the one thing that people don't understand about Texas, I've been here for 14 years. What's this Texas bravado? What is so great about Texas? And let me tell you what's great about Texas. It's the heart of the people. It's the heart, the collective heart of the people of Texas. It's a great state and a great city. Oh, look who come here. Come here, my fire chief. My brother Sam Pena just came up. I haven't seen him. Excuse me a second. You know, ever since I embarrassed him with that mask that very first day, do you guys remember that?
We don't take it off anymore, right?
No, we don't. We actually sleep in it.
Congratulations, my
Thanks,
friend.
brother.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Sam, don't stand up here with us. So anyway, so I think it's perfect timing. Everything's about timing. Internally, we're in good shape, but we got a lot of work to do. The work never ends. But I think it's important for the community as we get past COVID to understand that no matter how good the officers are, no matter how good the leadership cadre is, you cannot have a criminal justice system that absolutely allows violent criminals that go in one door and out the other. You can't have a criminal justice system where people are not on 1 bond, 2 bonds, 3 bonds, 4 bonds, 11 bonds for violent crimes. You can't have a criminal justice system in Harris County where when you commit a murder and you have a history of convictions for violent crime, you can get out on a $300 bond. And no, I'm not against bond reform, which is an absolute lie. I don't believe that people should be in jail just because they can't afford bail. I think that it should be for violent crimes. It should be risk. It should be based on risk. Risk to public safety, risk of reoffending, and risk of flight. We had police officers that were shot at last week, right? And that suspect was on bond. But hey, it's okay. He had an ankle monitor. Because you know ankle monitors, we have murders with ankle monitors. We've had aggravated robberies with ankle monitors. We've had any myriad of crimes with ankle monitors, but they think that that's okay. So we need to do risk assessments. And I pray for this department and this community because violent crime will continue to go up if the community doesn't speak out. So as a suggestion, if you want to march and you want to save lives, let's march on the criminal courts building, march on the DA's office, march on the criminal justice system that is getting people hurt and getting people killed that should not be happening. And I think I owe that to this community and I don't think this is anything new for anybody here. I think I've been talking about it now for about 2.5, 3 years, that what's going on. Been ringing the bell because with the resources we have, if they go in one door and out the other, murders are going to continue to go up. And the question is, what are we going to do about it, Houston? What are you going to do about these judges that wanted to empty the jail? You guys remember that press conference we had to have? They wanted to empty the jail. They wanted to empty juvenile hall where we have 2 capital murderers, 11 murderers, and hundreds of aggravated violent suspects because the juvenile hall, you know what it's like here, right? You have to, unfortunately, you have to be a pretty bad actor. So please pay attention, Houston, to what's going on. And I hope that after we get past COVID that people will pay close attention. There'll be some change. And so I want to thank the people of Houston for the beautiful messages I've been receiving. I want to thank my police officers. I hope that the mayor will allow me, a part of my transition, to actually go around and say bye to folks. I got emails that I had to stop. Some of them I had to stop reading because they were making me emotional, but there's one that there's a lot that stood out in the messages I've been getting. But one officer I shared with them said, you know, this is an older officer, senior officer, and he shared a story in his email that he said, you know, when you first got here, you spent about 45 minutes at the Houston Auto Show because your family was going around checking out this Jeep on a track that they had like a little roller coaster, and Jake was this little boy. And we talked for 45 minutes, and you talked about the importance of community relations and building relationships and relational policing, whatever. I don't remember the exact. But he said something that's really important. You know, and at first, you're making all these changes, and you know how cops are. The only thing we hate more than the status quo is change, and I think firefighters are the same. And they have more time to think about it sitting at the fire station. I got to get one out in the fire department. And he said, but you know what, Chief? You know what? You've helped me evolve my thinking. And because he said, change. And he says, and you know, my adage has always been, Chief, that if it ain't broken, don't fix it. And when I started realizing that as you all made change in the department, that things were getting better. And now my mindset is, if it ain't broken, it doesn't mean it can't be better. If it ain't broken, it doesn't mean it can't be better. And I think that that's really telling to the collective spirit of this department. Because I promise you, for every officer that sends you something, and there's others that would want to send you something, but they won't. Because they're not used to a police chief that actually encourages them yet. It's hard to get through that to communicate. So, again, to the media guys and ladies here, but I don't get to say goodbye to you later. Thank you on balance. Most of you were fair. Every once in a while I'd get mad at a couple of you, but most of the time, I think more often than not, we tried to work with each other so you can keep us accountable and we can keep the community informed. And I just want to thank you for 4.5 years of just really working together. And I think, again, more often than not, we were actually, maybe not having complete agreement on stuff, which is not your role, but I can just say that it's been a great media community. You do good work. You should be proud of your work, especially the investigative reporters. Just stay after it. Keep our feet to the fire. That's what we do. So with that, I'll just open up the questions, and I'm not sure exactly what my final transition will be. I negotiated 6 to 8 weeks, but it can be sooner if my work here is done. And Mayor Turner, who I want to just thank from the bottom of my heart for his spirit, for his soul, for this tremendous opportunity and privilege of being his police chief. It's I'm going to miss that smile and that laughter, but it's been a heck of a ride, and most of all, I'm going to miss my cops, because people can say anything that they want about me. They can't say I don't care with a straight face, because I may be wrong, I may be misguided, but I challenge anybody to say I don't care, because I do care deeply. And even St. John's trying to, I was going to admit that. Yeah, there he goes. Huh? All right, so I'll open up the questions. Sí, cómo no. Déjame tomar un poquito de agua. Bueno, como saben, tengo un gran honor de haber sido el jefe de la policía aquí en Houston. Y llevo 4 años y medio aquí. Y hace como 2 semanas me llamó el alcalde Suárez de Miami y me invitó a visitar con él y el manejador de la ciudad, Arthur Noriega, para ver si quería ser el jefe de la policía. Y yo no estaba pensando en salir de aquí, pero sí estaban pensando que el alcalde Turner, que es un gran alcalde, una persona muy amable, que ha sido lo considero un amigo, nada más que le queda un poquito más de 2 años. Y cuando él se vaya, I mean, let's face it, that last campaign, that was about me and Sam more than it was, we kept on, Mary, are we running too? Remember those conversations? What's next for me? ¿Qué es lo que voy a hacer próximo? Porque al fin del día este mes, el día 17 de marzo, cumplo 37 años que empecé la Academia de la Policía con la Patrulla de Caminos de California, y todo pasa por un motivo. Yo soy una persona de fe, y cuando me llamaron, yo estaba pensando si quiero ir a una posición federal, si quiero ir a ver si puedo ser el sheriff de Los Ángeles, y si quiero estar en el sector privado. Pero cuando me llamaron, lo que yo quiero hacer en mi corazón es ser policía, ser jefe, el servicio público para mí es muy importante, especialmente en esta época cuando hay tanta división en nuestro país, tanta división y también tanta necesidad para mantener las relaciones públicas con la comunidad. Y como le digo yo a ellos, siempre le digo a este gran cuerpo de liderazgo, ¿no?, que cuando hay tragedia, cuando hay complicaciones, es cuando nosotros vamos a subir. La crema sube para arriba y vamos a ganar la batalla. Mírese lo que ha pasado desde el 2016, desde noviembre 30 que llegué. Series mundiales, Harvey, este freeze, todo lo que ha pasado, y en ninguna ocasión no hemos sido un gran trabajo para la comunidad, y es un gran orgullo. Y cuando miro la ciudad de Miami, ahí es donde pensó esta gran vida en la libertad de los Estados Unidos, que llegamos ahí en diciembre del 68, y ahora ir de California a Austin, a Houston, ahora regresar a Miami, a donde sí tengo familiares, tengo familia ahí, y también mi cultura cubana, para estar con los cubanos, so I don't have to keep changing my Spanish, so I can slow it down. Puedo hablar ahora con más, tú sabes, con un acento más cubano, por lo voy a extrañar a esta ciudad. Esta ciudad es una ciudad tan bella, y este estado que las personas no entienden por qué hay tanto orgullo en Texas. Y lo que yo digo que los tejanos tenemos más que nada, lo que uno que es más grande que del estado es el corazón de la gente tejana, que tiene un gran afecto a su vecino y a lo que hay un visitante, a sus colegas. Así que la última cosa es que tengo gran confianza en estos son mis hermanos, mis hermanas, que yo sé que ya cuando yo me vaya van a seguir el departamento en la dirección donde tienen que ir. Pero entonces si yo me voy, le va a dar la oportunidad a ellos ascender. Así que ellos siguen, ascenden, y para mí eso es muy importante y me da mucho orgullo. Anything else?
Yeah, that wasn't the question. So we begin the question now. Dr. Thompson with Health and Development Magazine. I first want to say that congratulations
Thank you.
to you. I have had the opportunity of working in Paris, in London, in Germany, in Africa, and other places. And when I started working in America, I noticed that we're different. We've been here with Bill White, Anis Maka, and other people. My work with the Congressional Black Caucus, and NSCP at the Capitol in Austin. I always like to keep a low profile, even though at times I come out and be who I am. But I've always noticed that there was something different about you. And I thought that you had actually shown a lot of leadership skill, politics, the ability to lead and to move the community and all of that. And the people in Florida, in Miami, I was there a couple of weeks ago, also very tough. And I'm sure they are waiting for a tough person like you. So I wish you well towards Florida. The only question I want to ask you is, you are living at a time when reform proposals were done in the community after George Floyd. The trial is already beginning in Minneapolis. I was also there, a couple of months ago to cover all of that. And so you're leaving this department with the reform proposal, something which some other police leader would have just jumped on and been able to see what I did, see what we did. So based on the report, proposals, and demands, what are you saying to one of these, your leaders or subordinates in leadership position who will be taking over, maybe as interim in a couple of days, and then while the search begins? Because we know that the search could take 6 months.
That's if the mayor, he has the option not to do a search. Because I'll be real honest with you, I don't know any major city chief with a lot of experience is going to come to a city with, by the time they get here, it's going to be maybe 2 years left in an administration. Move their families, uproot for 2 years. I'm not sure what kind of candidate pool you're going to get. And I think the community needs to take a step back. And they need to ask themselves, do they know these people? Do they know their heart? Do they know their work? Do they know their strengths? Do they know their weaknesses? Because I can tell you that they can do a search, they're not going to find people better than the people standing here right now. And I know police executives across the country. I know them. Because I know that people are not going to move for 2 years. I'll never forget that the Obama administration offered me a position with 2 years left. And I'm like, you really think I'm not going to uproot my family for 2 years? Now, ask me at the beginning of the administration, not with 2 years left of the second term, I think it was. Because would you move for 2 years just to go in? By the time you're unpacked and you learn the city, you got to get up and go. Now, if it's 4, 5, 6 years, that's a different story. And there's been so much movement in policing right now that what I've been noticing in a lot of the big city searches, it seems there's fewer and fewer applicants. Go back and Google some of these big city searches, and medium cities, and just police chief seating. The number of applications are going down.
So you just said that you wouldn't go if the job was offered to you at the beginning, with Obama administration was at the beginning. So did President Biden offer you a job?
No, I have not talked to President Biden. No. What else?
So there's no job offered to you in the administration?
No job. I'm not talking about my conversations. What else?
Chief, you and I have talked many times over the years, and I've came to you several times and go like, oh, are you going to go somewhere else? Are you going to go somewhere else? And your thing has always been, I love Houston, I love Texas, and I'm staying put.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
like,
What changed?
yeah.
I think that look, you all and people, let's face it, everybody thinks that, oh, this guy weighs in on stuff, so he's going to run for office. Let's get the elephant out of the room. I weigh in on stuff because when God opens the door and gives you the bully pulpit, it's not for you to keep your mouth shut, it's for you to weigh in. And what I tell my team, if you don't stand for something, you're not relevant. You're not relevant as a leader, and you're not relevant in terms of the conversation. And so I've always weighed in, and people made the assumption I'm going to run for office. Now, I can tell you that what floats my boat is public safety and policing, because everything starts when quality of life with the collective safety of the people we serve. And so go back and check how many times I anger the extremes of the political spectrum in this country. I'm an equal opportunist. I mean, I've been beating up the progressives here on criminal justice, right? The extreme left, where their next idea is they should never prosecute anybody as an adult unless they're 25. That's the new mindset. You know how many trigger pullers we have in Houston that are 15, 16, 17? I'm a refugee. And you know what? I didn't shoot anybody at 17. My brain wasn't fully developed. We need to stop making excuses for people to choose to hurt other people and start using common sense. And then if I mention guns here, oh, Lord, my God, he's a communist. He wants to take away everybody's guns. Simply because I believe in universal background checks, and I believe in closing the gun shoot loophole. So I'm a guy with no home for office. I mean, who's going to vote for me? Nobody. Policing is where my heart's at. And so my options are public sector, try to get a federal appointment. I'm not going to talk about any conversations, or run for office. And the only office I would run for is maybe LA County Sheriff, where I grew up, because I've got family there. But Miami, really, when that came out of the blue. I mean, it came out of the blue. I think if you look at the reaction of the Miami Herald, they had no clue. Even Mario wouldn't have found that one. I mean, maybe you would have if you were there.
Chief, your move comes at a time when crime-fighting strategies are not working.
Yeah.
You have record homicides here in Houston.
Yeah.
And there are people that are saying, and I've spoken to some in your department, who said, he's cut and run.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
What do you say to that?
I said, look, let me tell you something. First of all, the fighting strategies aren't the issue.
Homicide.
Yeah. So let me finish. When we arrest people, and whoever you're talking to needs to pay attention to what's going on. When we arrest violent criminals and they're going in one door and out the other, are you disputing that? When you have a court system that is shut down because of COVID or Harvey, well, what's the next excuse? You tell me. It is a system, and I find it offensive that you or somebody else is blaming the cops. Because these cops are getting shot, they're getting killed, and for what? Get those courts open. I've already told you that. If they don't want to work, get out. We have come to work every single day with COVID. We've lost 4 firefighters. We've lost 2 police officers, 2 of our support team members. We've lost family members. Do you come to work? Why aren't you guys going to the courts, camping out, and asking these judges to get out of the shadow and start answering questions? Why? These cops are doing their jobs. We had 3 officers shot and killed. Why aren't you asking the questions as to how those guys, some of them that were on bonds, those officers should be alive? You want to talk to me about we're not working? And I'm angry. You guys don't know this. We did a critical incident debriefing as a team, and I talked about anger. Because when this man and this man and that woman and that man and that woman, when we go out to this community, it ain't those politicians that are coming out there. They're making these decisions. It ain't those judges that hide at the district. I've been asking for meetings with the district judges since I've been here. I still haven't gotten it. So go start asking those questions, because I will not apologize for the excellence of this department. That's right. And almost 100 were on bond.
And there are many families, and I spoke to one woman yesterday, Chief, who said they still haven't even come close to solving my father's murder.
Let's talk about solvability. Let's talk about. Let me address solvability. You live in a high crime neighborhood. Let me talk about solvability real quick. You live in a high crime neighborhood, and you know that gangster that just killed somebody is going to go in one door and out the other. Oh, and by the way, we've had witnesses murdered here in other parts of the country, and you can't afford to move away. We've had those conversations with witnesses. Do you think people want to talk? It impacts solvability. All these things have unintended consequences. That's the problem. And I apologize to those family members. I share in their pain. But why is it that nobody's talking about the other causative factors? That's the problem. We've got to get the courts back to work. They've got to get back to work. It's taking 4 or 5 years. We are asleep at the wheels as a society. We're pushing like 40, 50,000 felony cases that are waiting to go to trial. Do you have any idea how long it's going to take to get through the system? You know what's going to end up, let me just give you a prediction. You know what's going to end up happening? They're going to plea bargain the heck out of everything down to nothing. They're already out in the streets anyway, and we're not going to get justice. We talked to our victims, and it angers me, Mario, because they do deserve better. We've added more detectives. We're doing what we control. But no matter what we do, get ready for 500 murders. Get ready for 500 murders, the rate this is going.
But it's under your watch.
Well, okay. It's under my watch, Mario. And I'll be gone and bring in the best chief in the country. Bring in any chief. I got a prediction.
But Miami says you're the best.
You know, Mario, I'm done with you for the night. I'm done. Actually, I'm done with you for my lifetime. Thank God. Go ahead.
Chief,
Oh, excuse me 1 second. Let me go over here.
We have done the court story, and I hear you can watch it. We can watch it later together. But what I hear you is a lot of frustration.
Yeah.
And I wonder why not stay then and fix that problem? It feels like
Because
you're rounding third base and you're
yeah.
running to the outfield instead of.
Yeah, no, because let me be honest with you guys. His term's coming to an end. Okay, let me finish now.
With due respect, that's 2 years down the road.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you know how fast 2 years go by? And this opportunity came up today. Not 2 years from now. It came up today. And when opportunity strikes, you have two choices, right? You either seize upon that opportunity or you don't. I've got 2 great guys right here. And above them, I've got a great team. We just had this. Actually, we've been talking about this stuff. But when I leave, I'm opening up a position for somebody else. And look, I'm not going to here to justify it. I've got my own family reasons, my own reasons, and that's my own personal reason. And I think that as a police chief, when you decide to leave, I'm not going to question why you're leaving. I promise you. Look around what's going on in this county. The criminal justice system's a failure.
So do you think your job is done here?
No, the work never ends. The work never ends in policing. When does it end? It doesn't end. The work of continuing to do better doesn't end. I mean, think to what that officer wrote to me. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We hate change. But his mindset has been, if it ain't broke, doesn't mean it can't be better. And the truth is, no matter whether you're good or bad, no matter the performance level you're at, there's always room for improvement. And we got a lot of work to do.
Chief,
We got a lot of work to do.
I actually started by talking about the report for reforms, which came after Judge Floyd. You didn't talk much about it, but I said, one of these ladies, one of these men is going to be somehow the interim or the permanent chief after you leave. What in that report are you actually advising them to emphasize? Because this issue about homicide
Yeah.
is put on your head. I don't think it's right. I've been in meetings with the mayor where I keep saying that we seem to be burying a police officer in this city every week, and we should look into that. It's not only the citizens. The citizens have guns. Guns is a problem. They are killing police, and police is also killing the citizens. So this report has been made. We have the 21st century policing report, which Obama did and others. What in that report is, or in a few itemized way, can you give to one? Because I can bet my head that one of these men or women is going to be the interim or
Permanent
the
chief,
one
yeah.
to replace you.
Look,
What in that report are you advising them to focus?
I think that when we took that report, this is a team. This is not a team of one. This is a team of many. And all things, a team of 5,200 men and women on the front lines and about 1,000 support teams. We worked on that report together. We worked on everything that's gone to the mayor together, and we submitted it as an executive team and as an organization to the mayor. He has it. I think he addressed it yesterday. He's going to be rolling out some of those reforms. And again, it's not about one person, it's about the team, because we didn't do it in a vacuum. We had legal, we had our technology deputy director, we had finance. Every single person you saw up here was part of that, because everything has different pieces, many different components to the reform efforts. And so I think you'll be seeing that pretty short. Okay, one more.
Chief, how challenging is it to move forward knowing that the biggest challenge for you, for one, and arguably one of the biggest controversies
Yeah.
for the department, has been Harding Street? How challenging will it be for you to leave Houston knowing that Harding Street remains unfinished and the full story is not?
Well, I'll be back for Harding Street. I'll be continuing to follow Harding Street. It happened on my watch, but let's be real clear, because I know you guys want to pretend like it didn't happen. We uncovered Harding Street. We uncovered Harding Street. And I think that we all know we put our cards on the table. We've been really clear. But I hope, what I love about this community, you see, our protests were after Harding Street. But the difference between this department and other departments is that we uncovered the malfeasance. And now I want to see that through. Just like I've told the mayor, anyone that I've fired that goes to appeal, I want to come back and testify, because it happened on my watch. And I've also hope, there's a couple of cases in the hopper that I'm not going to talk about, but they happen on my watch, so I like to finish them. So what I can control, I like to stay. But again, these guys, you know, the emotions are high because it is hard to leave. I mean, it's hard to leave. This is my family for the last, these men and women are my family. I'm going to miss them, but I want to be a cop. And I'm sorry, if you can't understand why I'm going to Miami, then I don't know what planet you've been on. You might hasn't been to Miami. That opportunity came up. I have full faith and confidence in the team that's behind. If we've fallen short, it's my responsibility. I'll own it. But it's time for everyone else to step up, because these judges need to get to work. They either get to work. How is it that schools are open all over the country? Airports, restaurants, bars. How is it? Children are going to school. How is it? It's crazy. I mean, we're pushing 2,000 murder suspects pretty soon at the rate that's going, that haven't even had a day in court. And then for the progressives out there, whatever happened to the right to a speedy trial in this country? How are you going to get a job if you've got a felony charge against you and you're innocent? How do you get a job when an employer is asking you what's your status? Oh, well, I've got 7 bonds on 16 armed robberies I didn't commit because I'm innocent. But I'm being facetious on that. But what if you are innocent? Justice has to be certain. It has to be fair. It has to be timely. And right now, justice is not certain, and justice is for that victim. My anger, Mario, is not at you. It's that my anger is because I understand that victim's anger. But anyway, guys, that's it. Thank you all. That's it.
There's a case for today, Chief. Different case, Chief, real fast.
No, I'm done for the day. Thank you all.